Hi, I'm David Domke. I'm chair of the University of Washington Department of Communication. Every once in a while I get a chance to sit down with alumni and talk with them in something that we call Chats with the Chair. Get a chance to talk with them about their experiences, their goals, their kind of successes, their challenges over time. And I'm honored today to be joined by one of our 3 inductees into the 2018 Alumni Hall of Fame for the Department of Communication, Linda Breneman. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
So I understand that you grew up in Eastern Washington, is that right? And what brought you here?
Well, I grew up in Richland. My dad worked on the Hanford Reservation, and I was excited to come to Seattle, to the big city, to go to school at the UW. Yeah, it was an ambition of mine from pretty young. Yeah.
Did you have people in your life who had kind of trod this path, or were you one of the first that you knew of to come to UW?
You know, I have 75 cousins. And at that time, I think that's a lot of cousins to have. And at that time, I think I was the first of my cousins to go to college.
Wow.
Yeah, so I come from a pretty blue-collar background. My dad worked as a logger when he was young, and then he went to Perry Trade School and became an electrician and ended up in the nuclear industry and as an instrument technician. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You graduated in 1978.
Right.
And could you tell us and folks who will watch this, maybe one thing that happened that you remember shortly, let's say in the first year or 2 after graduation, that either happened to you or that you made happen that became really valuable for you as you kind of became the person that you are?
I think with that question, that was, I was married. I married really young, and my husband got his first job back home in Richland, working for Battelle Northwest. And I went to, and I applied for a job as a technical editor at Battelle Pacific Northwest Laboratories. And so I was trained to be a stickler as an editor, you know, on grammar and on clarity and on economy of words. And so I edited research reports and accident reports. There was a kind of a big accident when I was there, and I wrote the report for that for the public. And I think getting started in my first job was definitely the biggest thing after I graduated. Yeah.
Did you not expect to do that kind of work, or was that the kind of work you were looking for?
I thought I would probably get into public relations or advertising, but I'm really glad that that's how it worked out, because I'm a science geek. I love science and technology, and there was just like a perfect fit for me. That translator function between the engineer and the scientist and the consumer of information about technology, I really enjoyed that and liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had that, you did that work with Battelle, and then you moved into some other jobs, and I believe you worked at Boeing, is that correct?
I worked at Boeing for like 3 years. I worked at Weyerhaeuser on contract, and always with really technical material. You know, at Weyerhaeuser it was like pulp mill user guides, and at Boeing it was computer user guides for the tech staffs, so the people who figure out weight and structure and noise and that kind of thing for new airplanes. Yeah.
That kind of ability to translate, that's the word you use, translate really technical or scientific knowledge for a broader public audience can be really valuable for the public, because otherwise those scientists or technicians can't really explain what they're doing, right?
Yeah, that was really key, and something that made me really appreciate my degree too, because I would work with programmers, say, who were trying to talk about how to use the program that they'd written, and they were at a loss a lot of the time. They knew how to program something, but they didn't realize that when they went to work, most of their time would be spent communicating in words with other people. And I was able to help them with that, and so they really like seeing me coming, you know?
Yeah. The communication is one of those skills or knowledge bases that are kind of like, they're along the way, and people just know that it's going to be present, but they don't give it the kind of depth of attention that an expert strategic communicator can have, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
So over time, you've done a variety of different things, and was there one thing that you might share with us that is particularly something you're proud of, or that you're still energized around, something that is particularly meaningful to you over the last, from 1978 to today?
Yeah, I think what that would be, especially it's at the top of my mind right now, is that I started Richard Hugo House, which is Seattle's creative writing literary center. And I did that in 1996 after having worked as a technical writer for a long time. And my kids were small, and I didn't know much about nonprofits or how to start a writing center, but I feel like I had the confidence at that point to just jump in and figure it out. And so Frances McHugh and Andrea Lewis, my two co-founders, and Linda and Ted Johnson were kind of the key people who we just started the place on faith, and it took off. And now it feels like maybe every city should have a literary center, but back then that wasn't really obvious. So. And now we just finished a development of the property that we owned that the Hugo House had historically been on, and now they have a new facility that's just opened a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
We're really excited about that, yeah.
So how did you make that transition from technical writing and communication to more literary, the kind of broader creative space?
You know, I think in some ways writing is writing. I mean, you put your butt in the chair and you write, right? And but I have to say, I did go back and get another degree at the University of Washington in creative writing.
Okay.
And but I don't know, it all seems kind of the same to me. When you write a creative essay, it's a lot like writing a journalism piece, so yeah.
The Hugo House is an incredible contribution to the community. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. If you had the chance today to kind of go back in time to the Linda that was here on this campus, were you in this building? Because I
was in this building, yeah.
Yeah, because I can remember we moved a couple times. Yeah.
It's fun to come back because some memories kind of come back when I come back to the building.
Sure. Yeah. Spaces do that to us, right?
Yeah.
But if you could go back in time to that person and you would say, hey, here's one thing that if you would do, or if you knew, it'd be really good for you to know this at this point in your life development and as a student at the University of Washington, what might that be?
I think that's a great question. My kids, my youngest is 27 now, and I think when you first get out of college, you think, I'm never going to get a job. No one's ever going to take me seriously. It's hard to have faith in yourself. And I would just say life is long and complicated. And if you work hard and believe in yourself and kind of gravitate towards the things that you do well and that you like, then it's all going to work out,
Yeah. No, we're all in such a ambitious space to move to achieve X at this time, right? And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for things to fall into place.
Yeah, and embracing those right and left turns as you go, I think is a really great thing to do. Something doesn't work out, you've learned something, and you can try something else. And yeah, kind of relax and enjoy and try new things, I think.
I was just thinking, was talking to a student, and that's the same kind of thing I've been saying. Maybe I'll have him watch your talk because he might listen to it a little bit better.
I don't know. It's a hard space to be in, to be getting out of school and then trying to find your first job, it really is. I have a lot of sympathy, but yeah, I know what you mean. You try to give these kids confidence because they're so great, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe one last question. You've gotten connected to the Department of Communication in the last few years, particularly with our Masters of Communication and Communication Leadership program.
Yeah.
And what's an impression that you have of that program or that kind of work that has led you to be over time increasingly engaged with us?
I would say that I just love the way the University of Washington is less and less an ivory tower and more a leader and a connector in the world, you know, locally, nationally, internationally, working with nonprofit organizations and donors who want to make a difference and all kinds of people in the community. It's amazing because I think it benefits both. The community gets the advantage of all the great academic learning and people like you who know all the theory and all the research that matters, and then you guys get, you know, the practical connections for your students and the knowledge to kind of feed back. So yeah, I think it's great.
I've been here for 20 years, fortunate to be here for 20 years, and there's no question that in that time we have become an institution that is more public facing than we used to be and more publicly engaged than we used to be, and I love it. I think it's great.
I do too. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, you're an inductee into our 2018 Alumni Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We're really honored to have you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm David Domke. This has been Chats with the Chair. I've had a chance to speak with Linda Breneman for a few minutes. Thank you for joining us.